this is a very cool and interesting bonus you get tonight on the Urban Debate. Joined live with us right now is Swara Bhaskar, brilliant actress. God has been extremely generous with the talent when it came to Swara Bhaskar. She just had a movie come out. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. We've the Wedding is a massive hit. And I read somewhere that you didn't expect it to be such a massive hit. You knew it was going to be bold, but you didn't think it would do so well. Didn't the script suggest to you that this was going to be, sort of a box office breaker?
Well, I was surprised by the success of the film, but when I said surprised, I meant that we all thought that the film would do well. But I think that before every Friday you feel nervous and then you feel doubtful because, like, you don't know, and then there are all these tracking agencies which are giving their own numbers. So I was under the impression, and I even had a bet with Karina, that it would be about 6 crores is what we would open at. I did not expect that this would be the first, I think it's the first Hindi mainstream commercial film led by 4 women, no male star, to make double-digit crores at the box office on the first day. I did not expect that at all. And it's so amazing to be part of that film.
Well, Swara, obviously, I'm going to ask you about the other stuff that happened as well. There was an interesting tweet about grandmothers, and grandmothers suddenly became like the hot favorites to watch this film. And somebody put out saying, oh, you know what? I watched this film with my grandmother. My grandmother was very uncomfortable, with the scene of the masturbation that happened in this film. And so my grandmother said, I'm Indian, and this has embarrassed me. The interesting part about this tweet was it was tweeted verbatim by a bunch of people. They all spelt the word masturbation wrong, and it just seemed like it had been planned out by someone.
It was hilarious, actually, because I think that the tweet unto itself, of course, was trying to do a lot of things. It was simultaneously trying to slut shame me, simultaneously trying to allude to the placard campaign that I had participated in, which was in reference to the Kathua the incident, because the tweet was worded kind of like what was written on the placards that we were holding. And but I think the only thing that these creative people forgot to do, apart from a spell check, was that they forgot to kind of rearrange the sentences a little bit when they were copy-pasting, and a lot of the good people on Twitter sort of recognized that. And the really nice thing about this whole thing is that it became like a standing joke, because a couple of people tweeted about it, then some comedians came in and started making all these satirical comments. So I think that a lot of humor was generated from it, which is great. Like, the grandmother was trending for some hours that day on Twitter. So
yes, it was. I'm glad.
As long as we can have a laugh.
Yes, I'm glad you can have a laugh, and I'm extremely proud of you, for being able to laugh about this. But the truth is, and Twitter is a public platform, we can all read what goes on there. Some of it was very, very unpleasant. It was ghastly, and I admire the fact that you managed to sort of keep a certain sense of calm through all of it. But how did you deal with it? And this started since the placard campaign. You had a problem with people tweeting about your Amazon campaign, and now this happened, and it's a lot of ugliness. How do you deal with it? How do you manage to get through?
I mean, I think that the first thing to do to deal with this kind of thing is to turn off your notifications, so that you are not notified every single time a new person has decided to kind of take off on you or abuse you or slander you or say whatever the hell they want to about you. But I think that in the larger scheme of things, I've always tried to remember that I'm not the only one going through this. I think that this happens to a lot of women. I'm sure you've had your share of it because you're pretty vocal on social media as well. I think that a lot of women and men also, I think that anyone who kind of puts out an opinion out there, I think that the social media space has become just a kind of like a free-for-all for all our for all our basest kind of instincts, really. It's almost like the anonymity of that Twitter handle or that Twitter egg is like helping people rediscover how low they can be, and it's really a form of cowardice. So I think that I just keep trying to remind myself that this is what all this ultimately is, that these people are if you met them in real life, they'll probably ask you for a selfie, And I also remind myself that there are a lot of other women who are going through this.
I wanted to point out, you said, of course, being vocal, and you've always been vocal about what you think, but specific to this film, we've had so many films made about men or guys who go, who go on a trip together and who enjoy each other's company before one of them gets married. It's happened several times, in the history of our industry. But this was the first one that focused on women. It focused on women's sexuality, much like Lipstick Under My Burqa also I thought was brilliant and focused on women's sexuality. Is that what scares people? Opinionated women, women who acknowledge the fact that they have sexual needs, women who acknowledge the fact that, hey, you know what, we're here, we enjoy sex, this is what we need. People just don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I think so. I think that, in India, and not just in India, I think in South Asia, largely, we come from a culture of silence around the issues of female desire, female sexuality, and in general, women's experiences and emotions. There is a lot of silence around it. We're almost trained from the values that we get when we're little girls. A lot of it is about being nice, being a good girl, helping other people, doing your duty by the family, and we somehow forget to tell ourselves that you also learn to live for yourself. So I think that in that sense, Veer the Wedding is special because, when a lot of people have been like, oh, so what's so empowering about masturbation? No, what is, oh, just because you're masturbating is empowering. It's not about the act of masturbating. It's about when you show that in a commercial mainstream Bollywood film, somewhere you are in a roundabout sort or not so roundabout way, kind of making it acceptable for women to take ownership of their body, of their needs, of their sexuality, and be unashamed about it. And I think that is what is empowering, and to be able to recognize and to be able to say, yes, I also have the right of pleasure, and maybe sometimes self-pleasure, or whatever, or however you want to describe that. So I think that's what it really is. And of course, a lot of people will be shocked because, people don't like to, silence is so much more convenient. It's awkward, right, to break any kind of status quo.
Well, Swara, I think that one of the massive problems we have in this country is that we never acknowledge consent of a woman. The fact that a woman needs to consent to have sex, and that consent needs to also go hand in hand with the fact that the woman has to enjoy the sex, and it's never acknowledged anywhere ever that a woman needs to consent and enjoy. And I think that's part of the thing that shocks people, that how can a woman, good girls don't have fun. And I suppose that this was the message that perhaps also came out in this film, that we'll have fun, it doesn't matter whether you think we're good or bad. But I want to understand from you, when you read the script, you must have known there was going to be, let's say bold. It was going to be a bold film. Your character specifically was going to be bold. So did you have a chat with the director and the producer saying, this is how I want to do it, this is who I wanted to play as a character, this is what I wanted to come across as?
Yeah, so I actually asked for this role because Riya had offered me the role of Meera, which Shikha Talsania played. So I asked her to give me Sakshi, because when I heard the narration, I was like, wow, I've never done anything like this in my career. So this is a real challenge. Let's see if I can do it. And I did. I think that the first thing with any such scene is that you have to trust the makers and the writers, the director. And I really did trust the writers, Riya and Shashank Ghosh, our director, with this scene. The only thing I was worried about was that I didn't want the scene to come off as seeming, I didn't want it to gross out people, because I knew it was shocking. It's shocking even whether you are okay with the scene or you're not okay with it. So I told Shashank, let's veer towards the comic side, Let's make it a little OTT even if necessary, but let's veer to the comics so that people, when they watch it, are going like, oh my God, what? Like what? Oh my God, what? But not like, oh my God, gee, what is this? Okay. So I wanted to kind of not go toward disgust. I wanted to go toward comic.
Towards funny. All right, before I let you go, Swara, we are also having a conversation on the channel about the fact that we now have members of the psychiatric community who've come out and told the rest of the psychiatric community that being gay is not a mental issue. You can't heal it. Stop trying to heal and, treat people for being gay. Being gay is just how people are. And this is a message we like to put out on Mirror now, that, listen, guys, just being gay is being gay. It's like being straight. It's normal. But do you think that it's high time now in our country that we get over it and just move on?
I think so. I think so. I think that I think that it, you know, it is really, really sad that Section 377 of the IPC continues to criminalize homosexuality. I think that really there is no place for that kind of an attitude in a modern, progressive, and civilized society, which is really what we should aspire to be, and we are in some respects already. So we should really relook at a lot of the more sort of, just, kind of these laws that we have, which are so out of it now. And I completely agree that sexual preference is a choice, and as long as you're healthy and normal and not normal qualifications and adult about it, I think nobody's business.
Absolutely. Swara Bhaskar, congratulations again for the awesome work. You've been doing awesome work in your entire, I think, 8 years of career as an actor so far. And I wish you all the luck, and of course, continue to deal with all the madness with the kind of grace that you have done with up until now. Swara Bhaskar there of Veer the Wedding, joining us on Mirror now. Thank you so much for joining us.